there!
Hello and welcome to Get Started Investing. My name is Andrew,
And I'm Larissa.
and today's episode we're talking about debt. The good, the bad, the ugly.
How to get in, how to get out, and how to use debt to your advantage.
So if you like the video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can join our notification squad. So with debt, we're going to talk today about how easy it is to get in.
It's very easy. Far easier than you would think. Even the most intelligent, responsible people can find themselves thousands of dollars in debt.
The Federal Reserve even recently released a statistic that showed that over 55% of Americans couldn't handle an emergency that cost more than $400.
And those emergencies always pop up. It doesn't matter who you are, you're going to constantly have little emergencies popping up. That's just part of life.
Maybe it's a tire, maybe it's an emergency trip to the dentist, maybe it's a coworker's having a birthday party and you're socially obligated to give them a gift.
Whatever it is, there's going to be something every paycheck that you have to deal with.
So with how easy it is to get into debt, it creates a cycle for us. Every paycheck, we have these little extra things that we have to keep paying for, and eventually you get to where you're living paycheck to paycheck. And we call this the poverty cycle, because from there, all it takes is just one more accident or one more little emergency, and all of a sudden you're in debt and digging deeper every single week. So let's talk about breaking the cycle of debt, and what's the best two ways to do that?
Well, what I like to do is have just in my checking account just an emergency cushion fund. That's just maybe like $1,000 or $2,000 that's there for any small unexpected expense that might come up. Just something to stop you from using the credit card.
So in a day-to-day kind of thing, if you are perhaps a little bored, want to rent a movie on Amazon, or keyboard breaks and you got to go buy a new one, or a tire pops, costs you about $150 to replace that.
The grocery store was $20-$30 more than you expected it to be. Anything like that.
These are all great things to have $1,000 to $2,000 in a cushion for. This allows you to avoid using a credit card for these smaller type purchases. Now, a regular emergency fund should be about 3 to 6 months of your necessary bills every month.
And that sounds big and unachievable, but it is. The trick is you just have to start putting the money away. Even if it's only $10 or $20 a pay, just start. It builds up faster than you think it will.
And now, when I say this needs to cover about 3 to 6 months, now we're talking your rent or mortgage, your car payment, your insurance, a little bit of gas, and that's pretty much it. It just needs to be your absolute necessities, these bills that have to get paid every month, and you know what they are. They are your fixed expenses. Now, one of my favorite ways to get this started, because we have had our tax season in the United States extended throughout July, so a lot of people are still working on filing their taxes, and that is to use your tax return to either build a cushion so that you can avoid spending money on a credit card, or starting to build out your emergency fund.
Oh, and one other thing with the cushion we didn't mention, the way it works is when you do get your next paycheck, before you do anything else, you immediately replace whatever you took out of the cushion.
Yeah, so you get paid, you immediately top it back off, and the rest of the money that you have is in your budget.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. So tax returns are fantastic, but other than just setting up an emergency fund, because what if you already have that set up, or what if you already have the cushion and you're not planning on doing both? What can you then use it for? Well, instead of going out and buying more consumer goods, you could use the tax return to pay off credit card debt.
Yep, that is excellent. If you got like a couple $1,000s from a tax refund, you could take that debt off and your score could go up right away.
So, speaking about credit card debt, we have a fair bit between us, and there's three different methods that we have for taking care of credit card debt. Uh, would you like to go ahead and explain the first one?
Yeah, the first one you all may have heard of. It's the snowball method, is made famous by Dave Ramsey. So what that is you arrange your debts from smallest to largest, and you take everything you have and throw it at the smallest one first, while only making the bare minimum payments on everything else. So that small one gets paid off, then you take all the money you were putting toward that, throw it toward the next smallest one, and you just see credit card after credit card getting paid off. It goes faster and faster each time. It's like a snowball rolling down the hill, picking up momentum.
So, for the numbers people, if we have a credit card that's 1,000, 5,000, and 10,000, minimum payment on a 1,000 card might be $25, whereas for the 5,000 it might be 150 and 250 for the 10,000. So with this, you pay those minimum payments, and then say you have what, $200 left in your budget. After you pay for your essential necessities and your variable expenses like your power bill, then you take that leftover money, you put it onto the smallest credit card. From there, it just keep paying it off until that $1,000 is paid off, a couple of months, and go on to the next one. Now, instead of having 200 some odd, about $225, you have the $375 going off on that payment. So the thing about the debt snowball, unfortunately, is it's not efficient.
It may seem like you see results quickly, so it's easy to stick to, but it's actually the slowest way to pay off your debt.
Whereas the avalanche method, which is essentially the reverse, you pay off the largest debt first and work your way down, is a bit faster, but still not the most efficient.
And it's hard to stick to because it's going to be forever until you pay that first card off.
See, with the avalanche, you don't have the benefit of the psychological association with small victories. Paying off a small credit card is really great.
It's a victory. It feels so good to pay it off. We paid off our first one. I was like, yay, we paid off a credit card.
So the reason why the avalanche method is more effective than the snowball is because the larger debt pool, when you're shrinking that down over time, you're going to pay less interest overall. But is another more efficient way, and it's our personal favorite. It's called velocity banking. I like to call it chunking because you take out your debt a chunk at a time. So, my love, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and explain velocity banking.
So, velocity banking, I like to think of it as kind of a tool you can use to help along your snowball or your avalanche if you're going to use one of those. What it is you borrow against something, you take out a little loan that's much, much lower interest than your credit cards. So for us, it's a cash value life insurance policy that my mom got me when I was 18. It's built up to a cash value of about $5,000. So we borrow that $5,000 and we pay off a credit card. The interest rate on this cash value life insurance loan is about 8%. On the credit card, I think it's like 22-23%.
Yeah.
So it's a huge difference. On that credit card for $5,000 in debt, we were paying like $120 a month in just interest. And now that we've moved it over to this loan from the cash value life insurance, our interest payment was $11.60 last time, I think.
Wow.
So that's a lot more money going directly toward the principal, and the debt is being paid off faster. Also, added bonus, the cash value life insurance loan doesn't show up on your credit at all, so as far as the credit companies are concerned, that $5,000 is paid off. My score is going to go up.
So my favorite part about this is because we're also doing a modified snowball. Every credit card that we owe money on right now, we're paying about on average over $100 more than the minimum. Some of the credit cards we're paying double the minimum. And what this allows us to do is over time, it's slowly bringing down those balances. So when we do have that 5,000 ready to deploy again, it takes out a massive chunk of the debt, and everything else just starts dropping faster because we're able to put more money into repaying the loan. So it's kind of a slingshot game of Pong that just speeds up every single time that we pay off the loan. We use the loan to pay off a debt. Since we're no longer putting money onto that credit card, we now pay off the loan faster, so we can take the money out again, pay off another debt, and repeat the cycle until it's going to be only about 2 months between us taking out the loan and paying it off in full that we'll have that money available. Now, a life insurance policy isn't the only thing you can do this with. You can also do this with lines of credit, such as a home equity line of credit.
And now this is one you need a decent credit score to be able to access, and of course a house. But if you have those things, this is a great resource.
So that's actually going to be a tool that we're going to talk about later in the future. It's going to be a wonderful way to effectively maneuver and give you some options with some more advanced strategies. But, save that for another time, another video. Since now we spent a long time talking about the different kinds of bad debt, let's spend a little bit of time talking about the good kinds of debt, because believe it or not, there's good debt out there.
There is.
It's not all just credit card debt, personal loans, mortgages, things like that. There's good debt that you can utilize to actually make money. So go ahead, give me an example.
So, good debt, that might be purchasing an investment property that's going to be rented out and you're getting profit on that rent each month. Basically, good debt is something that's going to buy you an asset that will give you cash. It puts money in your pocket.
Another example would be a margin account. If you're doing stocks and bonds trading through the stock market, you can take out credit, essentially, with your broker to go and buy stock. Now, you keep the stock, and it's on credit. You pay it off a little bit as you go. But if you're buying stock that increases in value or pays you a dividend monthly or quarterly that pays for the credit, that's an asset. It's a good form of debt for you to utilize. We actually have the goal by end of year to purchase another property so that we can start generating extra cash flow. That's going to be another little part of our adventure here that we're going to walk through with you and show you every single bit of it. So just as a bit of a recap that we can go back through, overall consumer debt is very easy to fall into. It's just typically one emergency away for most Americans. In order to break the cycle, we need to find ways that we can build a buffer in our checking accounts, and then build an emergency savings. So if a big emergency comes along, we're prepared for it. With that, there's different strategies like the debt snowball, the debt avalanche, or the velocity banking that you can employ to get out of credit card debt quickly. And then finally, there's good debt and there's bad debt. Part of financial education is learning what debt is good, what debt is bad, and how to manage both of them. And as well, we have a book recommendation for this episode as well. We have The Millionaire Next Door. Now, this book is a very, very solid reference to several different strategies on how to become a millionaire. I personally feel like some of the information in this book doesn't apply anymore. The main strategy is save as much money as you can. Find ways to live below your means. The big takeaway is pay yourself first, which is actually going to be our next video.
Yeah, that's right.
But we wanted to show this book now because in order to find room in your budget to pay off debt, first you have to pay yourself.
Absolutely.
Now, the downside is with this book, it has a lot of mentality of save as much as money as you can, preferably in a savings account. These days, you're not really going to get that much of a return on a savings account. There are better ways to save your money. There's better vehicles.
And we're definitely going to be talking about that in the future too.
But just simply for the pay yourself first aspect of this book, we highly recommend it. We'll go ahead and have a link to Amazon in the description below. And with that, if you liked the video, if it's helped you in some way, please go ahead and give us a like, a share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. I have been your host, Andrew.
And I have been Larissa.
Thank you so very much and have a wonderful day.
Bye.